guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be another childhood ruining conspiracy theories Christmas edition. Don't forget, I am doing Vlogmas the days leading up till Christmas. I'm going to be uploading new true crime conspiracy videos every day, so definitely stay tuned for that. Come back each day or click the notification bell so that you get notified. Anyway, let's get into it. Alright, so the first theory we're going to be talking about is kind of the one that sparked the idea for this video because it is crazy. This theory I 100% believe. I love it. I'm so happy that I saw this theory. Basically, this TikTok user at Colleen Lepp made a few TikToks about this Santa Claus conspiracy. It is surrounding the Santa Claus movies with Tim Allen. One of my favorite Christmas movies ever. I love the Santa Claus movies. We've done a theory on the Santa Claus movie before, but it was completely different because this theory is literally like 100% believe it. I'm gonna link her TikTok down below so that you can watch all of the parts together, but I'm gonna briefly explain the theory itself. So her theory about the Santa Claus movie is that the Santa Claus has always been Scott Calvin. So obviously in the first movie we see the Santa Claus before Scott Calvin fall off the roof and basically die, and then Scott Calvin puts on the outfit and becomes the Santa Claus. Now the theory actually goes that that Santa Claus that fell off the roof is actually Scott Calvin, but kind of from a different time loop, and we're gonna explain how this goes. But basically the theory is that Scott Calvin was always meant to be the Santa Claus, but he couldn't be the perfect Santa Claus without repairing his relationship with his son, Charlie. Basically, the elves, Charlie and Scott Calvin, have all relived Scott becoming the Santa Claus hundreds of times. The first film is us seeing that for the first time, Scott finally got it right and was able to continue his timeline as Santa Claus. So we do know that it is possible for Santa Claus to time travel because we see that happen in the third Santa Claus movie, where Jack Frost and Santa end up going back to the moment where Scott became Santa so that Jack Frost could take over and be Santa. So we do know that it is possible for two Scott Calvins to exist within the same universe. So one of the reasons that this theory makes so much sense, and I've talked about this portion of this theory before in a different video, is that why aren't the elves upset that their Santa Claus has just died? This is something that we talked about. We went into a little bit of a darker theory that maybe the elves actually are the ones who kill Santa, and that the hot chocolate is made of the Santa Claus, the past Santa Clauses or their wives, or I don't know. It was something dark. It was not as fun as this one. The reason that the elves are not upset that the Santa Claus died is because the Santa didn't really die. It was just Scott reliving, trying to become the perfect Santa, and they've, like I said, done this hundreds of times. And it kind of makes sense because Bernard always seems annoyed for no damn reason, like relax. But the reason he's so annoyed is because he's literally done this so many times and he's just kind of sick of it. I think that that really adds to the theory because it has always been weird to me that the elves are never upset about the past Santa. Not to mention that theory goes further with talking about the Mrs. Clauses, because obviously in the second movie we learn about the Santa Claus, which is that Santa has to have a wife. So the reason that there's no other Mrs. Clauses is because Santa, aka Scott Calvin, never got to that point where he needed a Mrs. Claus because he hadn't repaired his relationship with Charlie in the past times that he has tried to become Santa. It's also really important to note, like, this part is so crazy to me and I have no other explanation for this other than that this theory is 100% true. So on the night that Scott became Santa, well before it happened, Scott and Charlie went to Christmas dinner at Denny's. And at this Denny's, there was an elf who was literally watching Scott and Charlie. And I've never noticed this. I don't even know how many times I've seen this movie, but I have never noticed that. And it's so weird to me because I feel like I usually notice so many things. But there's so many elves throughout the beginning of the movie before Scott even becomes Santa Claus. Why else would the elves be watching Scott other than to make sure that he does the right thing and becomes Santa correctly and repairs his relationship with Charlie so that he can actually continue his storyline of being Santa so that they don't have to relive it another time? What other reason? How else would that elf know to be at that Denny's and to be even watching Scott if he wasn't even Santa yet? Why would he, why would the elf be there? I don't understand. And the elves continue to watch Charlie and Scott throughout the movie, which makes sense after they've already been to the North Pole. But it kind of doesn't actually, because maybe the elves are there to make sure that, you know, Scott's following the correct timeline. Even though to me the weirder part was when they were there before they even met Scott. But according to the theory, they already had and done it thousands of times. You know, the point where Scott and Charlie go to the North Pole and then they come back and Scott gets to live at home for 11 months until Thanksgiving, because that's when he's due back to the North Pole. The reason that that's so interesting is because why are the elves watching over? Probably to make sure that Scott does not mess up the timeline again and repairs his relationship with Charlie. Because if you also notice, the only time that Scott turns into Santa is after he accepts the fact that he is Santa and that what he saw in his dream was actually real, which is what helps repair his relationship with Charlie. And that is when the actual Santification process begins. The theory also talks about Scott Calvin's boss, who later in the movies, the same actor returns as Father Time, which is of course interesting because perhaps Father Time was also there to keep Scott on the right path to becoming a better Santa. I actually fully believe this theory because it makes so much sense, and it is the only reason, other than that maybe like they were just trying to do Easter eggs in the beginning of the movies with the elves. It just explains everything and it completely changes the way that you will watch this movie because it makes so much sense. Let me know if you guys believe this theory because I certainly do. I just certainly do. So yeah, thank you to that TikTok user Colleen Lepp for making this theory because it's absolutely crazy. I messaged her about it and she told me she's making a YouTube channel and she's gonna make a video about that, so I will link that down below. She already has a channel up, so you can go subscribe to her and be ready for the video on the full story. But for now, she does have the TikToks up and they are just so interesting. I'm just like, I don't know. I just think this theory makes the most sense out of any conspiracy theory about a TV show or movie that I've probably ever heard, honestly. What do you guys think about it? And will it change the way that you watch the Santa Claus movies? The theories about the Grinch are actually pretty grim. Some of them honestly upset me a little bit, but let's get into them. So the first one is very grim, and it is the idea that the Grinch and the Who's are cannibals. I can't even really take that seriously. It's not that I don't believe it, it's just that it's like quite a dark theory. This Twitter user came up with this theory and I just found it to be very interesting, and it pointed out some things that, you know, I had not thought about before while watching The Grinch. So this Twitter user points out that roast beast, what is that? What is roast beast? It's kind of shaped like, it looks like it could be shaped like the Grinch's stomach, honestly. So it could be shaped like any Who's stomach. Kind of confusing. Nobody knows. What is roast beast? It's not roast beef, it's roast beast. Wouldn't you be concerned? But there's a theory that roast beast is actually made of Who's. So the theory actually goes further than this and a bit more interesting. Not really sure how I feel about the whole roast beast situation. But I don't like it because if you think about it, besides Max, there really have been no other animals seen in the Grinch Whoville world. So also, I think it's important to note, and I feel like this is like a just general kind of theory about the Grinch, is that the Grinch is a Who. I've always seen the Grinch as a Who, even though they call him a what. I think that he's just a Who that like kind of looks different, and that's like his point. But he has a lot of the Who features. He was obviously born in Whoville. Honestly, I wish that they would make a Grinch like origin story of like where the Grinch actually came from, because obviously baby Grinch was kind of just like how babies are sent in Whoville. It's like in the little not umbrella, but little basket thing. It's kind of like a stork. You know, the two aunts. Were they lesbians or were they sisters? I don't know. But either way, they two aunts ended up raising him, but where did the Grinch come from? Like, what is the Grinch? I personally have always just assumed that he was a Who that just like looks a bit different. That's kind of why he was bullied and that was the point. But maybe he is something different. Maybe there is a theory about that. I would like to read it. But either way, it is obvious that the Who's don't really like the Grinch because he looks different, they're mean to him, whatever. So he, you know, exiles himself to Mount Crumpet. He hates Christmas. This Twitter user's theory actually goes that the reason the Grinch hates Christmas so much is because he thinks it's weird that the Who's are like having this huge celebration just to like eat each other. So he just is a little concerned and doesn't really love the idea of Christmas for that reason. Also, I feel like it's very important to bring up Who Hash. This was, to me, the selling point for this theory is that Who Hash, you know, just translated directly would usually mean hash made of who. They're kind of cannibals, I guess. Like if you look at like corned beef hash, like it's hash from corned beef. The fuck is corned beef? Something I don't trust, honestly. But the theory continues that the Grinch, you know, decided to get a little taste of Christmas, and that's kind of like what happened with like Cindy Lou and everything. And then once he discovered Christmas, it's almost like Christmas was like the cult or like the set of like what made the Who's want to be cannibals, or kind of put them in like a trance where they didn't really care or ask where the meat was coming from. It's a little bit of a confusing theory, but then the theory continues by saying the Grinch kind of really became one of them, like as he cut the roast beast at the end of the movie. But then the theory also continues by saying that they think that the reason that the Who's were so nice to the Grinch was because they were gonna kill him for next Christmas and eat him. That theory is definitely a little bit grim, but it kind of makes sense why the Who's would want revenge on the Grinch, because he literally did try to like ruin their Christmas. But you know, I don't know if they were trying to eat him. I don't really know if I believe that theory, but what do you guys think? I do find it interesting. I just think it's interesting that they made something called Who Hash. Like the next Grinch theory, I actually 100% believe, and it's really sad. So this TikTok user made a TikTok about this theory, and I just was very upset by this. As we know, the Grinch like hasn't been to Whoville in about 2 decades because he, you know, is seen as the young Grinch. He was like 8 years old or something at that point in time, and then he got made fun of in school and basically went to Mount Crumpit and never came back until Revelation like Cheermeister thing. So that was like the first time that he returned back, and this is regarding the Jim Carrey version of this movie. The Grinch talks about how he has been on Mount Crumpit for, you know, probably 20 years or something, and for all of these years he's just been experiencing all of these Christmas presents that, you know, the Who's didn't want anymore. They would get bored of their Christmas presents within 2 weeks, and they would put them in the dump it to Crumpit trash chute, and it would end up at the Grinch's house in Mount Crumpit. It's kind of a key point as to why the Who's annoyed the Grinch so much and why he hated Christmas, was because these Who's would just get rid of their gifts, and he just found it to be ungrateful. Honestly, feel like the Grinch was really not the villain the entire time, but whatever. It's true. The Who's got ungrateful with their gifts, and they would, you know, put their gifts in the trash chute, and then it would end up in Grinchy land, Mount Crumpit. The TikTok user then points out that the Grinch has not been to Whoville in 20 years, so where the hell did Max come from? It's really sad, but it's likely that a Who got a puppy for Christmas and, you know, after 2 weeks or so got bored of the puppy and put him in the trash chute to Mount Crumpit. And that's how the Grinch and Max met, and now it's really sad. I really actually believe the theory. I think it makes the most sense. How else would he get this dog? And it's just really sad. They were like 2 people who were just, not even people, but 2 things. Grinch and Max were 2 beings that, you know, all of a sudden were completely unwanted, and that's why they've found each other, take care of each other, and it's really sweet. And it's just really sad to think that Max had a home and like a puppy, and this is a real life problem. I'm not saying that people like in real life hopefully don't, you know, throw their dogs in a trash chute, because that would be very bad. I am saying that it is a problem where people get puppies for Christmas and then the puppies end up in the shelter, and it's really sad. I thought that this theory was so upsetting, and I actually really believe it because I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't know, where else would Max have come from? Because it's sweet that Max and the Grinch met each other, but it is sad to think that Max was just abandoned. And I hated his little puppy. I don't know, I hate it even more because I just thought about the fact that the dog that played Max is dead. Probably. I don't even know why I said probably. It's actually been like 20 years since The Grinch came out. Alright, so the next movie we're going to be talking about is Love Actually. This is one of my favorite Christmas movies ever. There is a conspiracy theory surrounding Love Actually that I found to be very interesting. The theory basically goes that Mia is actually the devil and Rufus represents an angel. So Mia throughout the entire movie tries to get Harry to cheat on his wife. She also dresses up exactly literally like a devil for Halloween, for Christmas, like the Christmas party, which I always thought was kind of weird because it was like everyone else was just in nice dresses. So she was like looking cute, honestly. She looked freaking fun. fire, but she did put the devil horns on. I'm not really there for that, you know what I mean? So she puts on the devil horns for this Christmas party that everyone else is just dressed normally for, and people really believe that she is supposed to represent the devil. And the reason that Rufus is supposed to represent the angel in the story is because he actually purposefully was taking forever to wrap the gift that Harry bought for Mia, the necklace, because he was trying to help Harry kind of really sit there and think about what he was doing. He's buying another woman a gold necklace for a Christmas present while his wife is just in the other department. Unfortunately, it obviously did not work out for Rufus to, you know, save Harry from cheating on his wife. And another reason that people think Rufus is meant to be an angel is because he is the one who tries to distract airplane ticket counter people so that Sam can get by and get through security so that he can meet Joanna before she boards her plane back to America. So I just think that it's really interesting to see, because it was really random that it was like the same character from the Selfridges, you know, gift wrapping place, you know, same actor, I mean, Rufus. They're at the airport at that point. It's just really random, and I feel like it wasn't coincidental. And of course he like helped her. How did he like know to like help him out? Like, I don't know. It just makes sense that he's an angel. And you know what? This theory was actually kind of confirmed by the producer of Love Actually. Emma Freud actually tweeted in 2015, originally Rufus's character was actually supposed to purposely take forever wrapping the gift, and it would have actually stopped Harry from buying the gift for Mia. So originally, I guess Harry was gonna not buy the gift for Mia because of how long Rufus was taking. He ends the tweet by saying he did this because he was an angel. So I think this theory is probably kind of true. I don't know if it means that Mia's really like the devil or anything. Kind of believe it, like kind of makes sense. At least a devil and an angel on his like shoulder, like Harry, for example, but I don't know, I find it to be a really interesting theory. But that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up, and let me know in the comments below what you guys think about these conspiracy theories. I would love to know. But that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, because I'm always posting really dope ass shit on there. Subscribe for new videos every week and every day right now for Vlogmas, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!